Okay, I see a record button. I think we're good to go, right, John?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge of Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands,
Okay, thank you. We'll call the meeting to order at 10:07. The agenda is set. I don't think we have any presentations, so we'll go to approval of minutes. Be it resolved the minutes of the March 24th meeting be approved. Do a motion?
So moved.
Second. Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Be it resolved after an audit of the bills, payment of the March 17th and April 1st warrants and internal claims auditor reports be approved. We have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes. Treasurer's report. Be resolved that the March 20th treasurer's report be approved. We have a motion?
So moved.
A second? All right. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes. We're on to the third reading of the policy there, John, if you want to take that.
Sure. There are no updates. Again, this is the policy that refers to the privacy and security of all of our information in regards to student, employee, and principal information. Part of the regulation was that we needed to assign a data protection officer, which we've assigned to Rob. And basically, again, this is for focuses on third-party contractors and the exchange of information. Not only do we need to abide by certain security laws, but third-party vendors, EduTech, and any other contract that we have with other parties needs to abide by certain new laws and regulations as of July 1st in regards to student information and what they call PII, which is personally identifiable information. And again, this needs to be enacted by July 1st. At this time, I don't have any new revisions. I do think because this policy is so new that we're okay to move forward. And again, any revisions that pop up in the next few months or the next year, we can add and revise the policy.
I have a question for you, John.
Sure.
Is this, I thought more about this since you first told us about this new law. Is the data protection officer duty, is that something that requires Rob's attention, or could that be delegated to, it sounds like a clerical position or duty to me?
Sure. The concern is we had met as a cohort group of superintendents along with the EduTech technology people. And really the policy basically, and like I had said, is to protect school districts. The concern is if there's ever a question in regards to ransomware, the leakage of student information, because this data protection officer is so new, our first concern was what certifies someone to have this type of responsibility and duty? Because at first they said that it could be a conflict of interest to have someone, behind the scenes or somebody in your tech department being the officer. And as the weeks and the months went on, who better to have that role if there happens to be a breach of security or information than the tech person? Some superintendents said, well, I'll do it, but what capacity do I have if I go ahead and say, hey, look, we have a breach, the first person I'm going to go to is Rob and Rich within our district. So a lot of the superintendents and districts in the area have designated their IT person, if they have one, for this responsibility. It includes some training. It includes some investigation and research from our IT guy from Rob to make sure that we're in compliance with the new laws and regulations. And again, the state is requiring that someone within the district be identified as the head person in case there's any issues, concerns, or updates.
I can understand why we need to designate someone. I just wondered about the checks and balances, because the question does arise if there's a conflict of interest. And it seems like if Rob has, if all of that is, I don't want to mention Rob, if all of that is concentrated in one position, there doesn't seem to be a check and a balance or any other eyes looking at it. So I understand. I guess I just need clarification, because I understand why it makes sense to have him in that position, but then there is no check or balance or any other eyes looking at it.
No, when we do the SAAs and we contract with third-party vendors, it actually is through Rob. A lot of our online platforms, any educational platform that we use within the district, the third-party vendors now need to comply with this. So with the SSAs, and they are through EduTech, so there is a system of checks and balances. It's not just Rob. When I sign off on contracts to have certain platforms within here, EduTech and Rob review the contract services from the third-party vendors to make sure that they are complying with, Ed Law 2D. And again, if there was ever sort of breach here within the district, honestly, it wouldn't be Rob. He would be the point person here locally within the district, but we would work with EduTech and their IT person. So there is a system of checks and balances. We are not alone in this. It is the whole GVEP consortium that EduTech works with. EduTech has also provided the opportunity that they were going to possibly hire a few people to work within all of our districts on a shared basis, as a system of checks and balances. But again, really the policy that we have here from the state is just that we have to designate somebody within the district as a data protection officer. But again, if things come down the road as there's breaches or there's questions regarding data and privacy, Rob would not be the be all end all of, the questions and answers. There are multiple people that are within our system that would, help us.
Okay, because last meeting you expressed the concern that this position, excuse me, would require a lot of time. And so then that struck me as more of a clerical position, that the duties might be better taken on by someone besides Rob.
No, the other duties that are involved, like I said, are a lot of the third-party contracts, a lot of, school tool information, the uploading into the state portal regarding beds information, all of that stuff the secretaries don't have access to. That's an administrative position.
And that all comes under data protection officer, or that's in addition to it?
That's a part of what he would be responsible for, that the district is following the guidelines and the laws of this new Ed Law 2D. So are they additional responsibilities? Yes. But again, the uploading of beds data, working in school tool, that's the administrative team. And, Rob is there in case, there is a red flag that's noted about something, that Rob is the point person within the district to either correct or work with an outside vendor or EduTech to correct the problem.
Okay, and maybe you can't answer this question because you weren't here then. Who uploaded beds data before Rob?
I know that the building principals each get a beds form. We have a district-wide beds form, and then there's one for each building under a separate beds code. So currently, Lynn and Matt would upload their building beds form. The beds forms also contain a lot of technology information, so there's multiple facets to it. Mary Della Penna would input some cafeteria information. Some of the teachers would, as far as our library resources. Nicole would be a part of adding information into beds. And then I end up going in and verifying and certifying all that information. So there's multiple people inputting that information into the state each year.
Okay, just so I understand. So before Oakfield, Alabama had Rob or the IT position, then other people uploaded the beds information.
Yes, and we still do today. That's not really, there's a part of it that Rob would fill out, probably a page or two regarding our technology within the district. But there's a lot of, enrollment information, again, library resource information, other platforms that other people would have to answer for us. So it's not an IT thing. It's something that the building and the district itself has to provide information to the state for.
Okay, thank you.
I hope that answers your question.
That adds some clarification.
The beds packet is about 25 pages long, so.
Okay.
I'd say if we're comfortable with this as a board, it's our third look at it, I would suggest we try to move forward and getting it passed. Is there anybody else has any questions before we do that?
Well, I do understand where Lauren is coming at, and I think, John, you said if a district has an IT person, I think that's key. I think, Lorna, you are correct. I do believe that this responsibility can be taken on by other administrators, but we do have the luxury of having an IT person. So it does make sense for me to have that person be responsible for it and then be the expert. As far as the oversight goes, it does make sense that EduTech is there and they'll continue to be there. And as long as we don't feel that this is going to change between now and, did you say July 1st, John?
This new policy needs to be in place by July 1st.
Right. As long as we don't foresee this changing based on circumstances, because I think this definitely pushes the bounds of that law, doing all of these virtual meetings. I don't see why we couldn't vote on it today, Matt.
Justin, why did you say that these virtual meetings push the bounds of that law?
Because it opens up. So Lauren, like, let's say you're doing a resource room, which I know you've done one or two of them before in your lifetime. If you're doing Google Meet in a resource room, and just like this, it's allowing other people to see who is in that resource room, correct?
Yes.
And you would also be able to see some of the modifications and some of the IP information would be a little bit more transparent via this medium here. So
your comment you just made is more in reference to a teacher who's currently meeting with students with IP.
Well, the student's actual program would be more accessible to the rest of the parents in the resource room than it would normally be.
Okay.
You follow me a little bit? Because usually an IEP is pretty...
Right, but you're referring, in this instance, your comment referred to a teacher meeting with an IR in a resource room.
Right.
In a virtual. Okay, you're not referring to the board members' virtual meetings.
No.
That's what I was wondering about.
Yep. Nope.
Okay. Any other questions from anybody?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Let's. Can we get a motion to approve this policy number 5676 as written?
So moved.
So moved. Any discussion? Further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Passes. Okay. Look around the reports. I think we've got Nicole up first. Is Nicole with us there, Tara?
Nicole, I think you're muted.
She disappeared. Oh, there she is.
No, we can't hear you.
Doesn't look like she's muted looking at the screen.
I don't see her at all.
I don't see her either.
No.
She's the one.
Maybe she got disconnected.
There we go.
John,
Did
do you
you turn your
want to
volume
speak?
down, Nicole?
I could have Tara take a look to see where Nicole is, and we can move to my report if the board would like to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Seems like
Yeah.
she.
Oh.
Hi,
Hi.
there I am. I'm on and can hear everything you're saying. I'm not muted. I don't really know what happened. The only things that I have for you today are one, thank you, Matt. I saw Kendra was emailing with Mary in regards to getting 5-pound yogurt tubs distributed to our families at the school district. So we're going to be working on that. We should be getting the tubs tomorrow. I don't know if it'll be in time for distribution or not, but if not, then we'll do it Thursday. So thank you for that.
No problem. We could see all the area farmers are trying to pitch in. All we've got is raw milk here, and I don't think I'm legally allowed to show up with a tanker and distribute it to kids. The cooperative.
Bring your own bucket.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
we're gonna give out as many as we can, and then Mary said if she has leftovers, she'll just use them in the lunches as she can. So
Okay, it's
so thank you
actually
for that.
it's from McDonald's. I don't know if you'd heard that. There was they had to get the approval from the vendor first, so it's gonna be McDonald's parfait. But upstate Niagara, kind of what's going on is this has really upset their ability to distribute their products. So it sounds like every Friday there's a PR person from upstate Niagara that's calling saying, here's what we've got. So if there are more things, then we'll do the best we can to see that the district sees some of
So just to give a shout out, Upstate has been beyond awesome when they're delivering milk. They came back for us and delivered additional milk when we needed it. So they've been like really good to us. And we've been, again, supplying milks with every single one of the meals. So that's not a concern.
It's good. Raw milk is getting dumped, by farmers all across the country. So we're happy to see products getting used wherever we can get them used. So,
yeah, for sure.
All the school.
Good. So thank you for that. And then I've just been working on the budget. Really, that's the main thing that obviously I've been keeping my eye on, and I will have a further update at the meeting. I haven't sent anything out additional, but I do have a brief presentation for you all to look at with my recommendations and what I've heard going forward from the governor. And I know we've all been listening to it, so it's a lot of information. So just to keep you up to date on all of it. That's all I got.
All right. Any questions for Nicole? All right. Thanks, Nicole.
Yep.
You're up, John.
Okay, let me see if I can present this. I don't know if can you see this, the COVID-19 OA school closure?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, I just wanted to provide the board and the community residents, if they watch this video, just an update of where we are at, what OA is doing, and basically where we go from here. So obviously the governor has mandated that all New York State schools remain closed through Friday, May 15th. I will assume towards the end of April, probably in the next week or so, that we might hear of another extension. But currently right now, he has extended the school closure through Friday, May 15th. His 180-day waiver still extends through that time, which we have applied for. During this time, schools must continue with their continuity of learning, which obviously we are here. The teachers have done a fantastic job in providing students their continued education and resources to continue on with their instruction. We also need to provide food service to our students and community members. And we also need to align with this 180-day waiver childcare provisions for the first responders and healthcare workers. Obviously, we are in compliance with all aspects of those governor's orders. So again, I just wanted to review for the community and the board our food provisions. So we have breakfast and lunch grab and go bags. We started that serving back in March, the second day that the schools were closed. We have pickups from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. behind the middle high school in our bus loop. And we are also doing delivery service on Mondays and Wednesdays to many families within our community. If they still are in need of that service, they could call the district office here and we will sign them up and get them on our delivery service. And I just want to say that it's been wonderful. The volunteers that have showed up to hand out food to people that drive up, hand out, instructional packets, just to be a smiling face out there has been wonderful. And I just want to thank some of our bus drivers and Mr. Luxon for, delivering the food and even, again, instructional and educational supplies to our families that just can't get to campus. So, and thank you to our cafeteria service. These ladies are working hard. They're here very early in the morning. They're staying late to package up all of these, breakfasts and lunches, and to Mary for her management of the cafeteria. We are approximately at about 350 to 375 meals. That's breakfast, and then 350 to 375 lunches each and every day to our families. So I know the community is taking advantage of it. We certainly appreciate it. And obviously we will continue it through the closure. Our continuation of education, the update here since last time is that New York State has canceled all of the 3 through 8 New York State assessments and all Regents exams. We do have a link on our website that does talk about graduation requirements, Regents credit, if a student was in a course that was to end in a Regents exam, or if they possibly had failed a course and were going to take an exam in June, those students will be given credit as long as the student is passing the course and meets the requirements. Again, there's a link on our website. I know Matt and Connie have done an excellent job up here at the middle high school in disseminating that information. Letters went home to families regarding that. Our counselors have been fantastic. They are placing phone calls and reviewing every student transcript here, starting at the high school and with our seniors, in reaching out to families to let them know how this may affect their child moving forward, with graduation. Currently, right now, we are supporting our students in this endeavor. We had ended the 3rd marking period with numeric grades, and as we move into the 4th marking period, we created a rubric that is mainly a pass-fail, that teachers are assigning work possibly 1 or 2 times a week, and they are using a rubric based on what they receive back from the student. And again, a letter went home explaining this to families as we move forward. A lot of the school districts within this region are looking for a pass-fail type of grade for the 4th quarter, and then reviewing what the student had, namely in the 1st and 2nd quarters, to see if they meet the requirements for a credit if they were in a Regents course. I will say that a lot of the superintendents are giving thumbs up given this time to make sure that we are supporting the students and doing everything possible to provide them credit for the classes that they are in. And again, there is a website, a link on our website that has all of the 6th through 12th assignments. They are posted weekly, and it's under the district COVID-19 alerts, and it's at the bottom, and we've received many applause from the students and parents in regards to having, one platform where they could go and see all the assignments listed. And that is, every subject, every grade level, 6 through 12. So it's been a great thing. And again, I'd like to thank the teachers for doing that. It's a lot of work, but it really seems to be working now that we're in week 6 of this closure. We still have contact information in case any first responder or healthcare worker needs childcare within our community, we have partnered with Kelly's Imagination Station in Batavia and the Community Action of Orleans and Genesee counties to provide these services. And again, contact information is available on our website. And again, we will continue to work with these families if they are in need of childcare. Some additional information. We have not received any further guidance on any date for a budget vote, our capital project vote, and the Board of Elections vote. I am hearing that the earliest would be June 2nd. The order right now is to delay this until after June 1st. June 2nd is the first Tuesday in June. So that has been a date that has been rumored, but nothing official as of yet. We also heard that June 23rd could be a possibility. That is the primary elections within New York State. So they're looking to possibly package all of this up into, one vote date. But again, nothing official as of yet. Obviously, we are waiting for this guidance because by law, there needs to be some public announcements and proper resolutions when those dates are confirmed. And so obviously we will abide by all of that. The one concern that the area superintendents had with a later June date is if you were to have a budget vote and your budget happens to be defeated, then really you have a week before July 1st to present a different budget to your community or you're in contention. So it'll be very interesting, and I'm assuming we'll receive some guidance in the next week or so on the official date for the budget vote and the board elections. Certainly, our board here, you will need to decide moving forward about the capital project vote. We do have some options with that, that I'll share with you in our next meeting at the budget vote. I do want to make sure that people understand, and our administrative staff is absolutely, positively, 100% looking into having a graduation. I know that many districts have canceled prom, they've canceled senior trips, and we've been, kind of surveying the students. Spring sports obviously still seems to be up in the air, and as these days keep, going on, it really doesn't seem like any of that's going to happen. But if there is one thing that we need to do for our seniors is to have graduation. Currently, right now, per our instructional calendar, our graduation was set for June 20th. One of the things that we also need guidance on is, without the Regents exams taking place, what does the end of the school year look like? Do we need to go through the last week of June? As you recall, really the last week and a half of school are the Regents exams. Well, if there's no Regents exams, then what is the state going to tell us that our official end date may be? So we're waiting on some guidance, but I just want the community and the students and the Board of Education to know that in some form, we will pull off graduation here. If the social distancing guidelines are still in effect, we will come up with a plan to make sure that our students have an appropriate graduation before they leave here. So that could be determined, and we will continue on providing information as we have more answers from the state. We certainly here are taking care of ourselves. Student check-in forms are coming in every single day. I believe we've had over 560 responses. Students are checking in weekly, some students daily, some students, every other week in regards to how they're doing, how they're eating, how they're sleeping, if they need any assistance with their homework or assignments. I know our middle high school counselors are constantly reviewing that. And if a student needs, a phone call, a check-in, we are on that daily. So we're certainly taking care of our students. We're also doing the same thing with our parents. We've had various responses from families in regards to, assistance or, help with, where do we go from here, and some, answers that we can provide them. So again, our administrative team has been contacting families that have reached out to us to make sure that, everybody is A-okay. And if we can help anybody in the community, please give us a call or fill out that form. We do check those daily. We also have our staff check-in forms. A lot of our teachers are responding to us, not only with their own personal questions or concerns, but also, how do I do this? And, how do I perform some of these tasks from, home or remotely? So Rob and the administrative team, we've been reaching out to our own staff to support them during this time. Currently, all our employees are still receiving their pay. We, as an administrative team, have another meeting tomorrow. We meet frequently just to talk about the state of the district and moving forward, of looking at what we're doing and what can we improve and what is working, and let's continue that. So the administrative team is working, and we do meet just to make sure that the district is moving forward. And if there is any guidance that we will open before the end of the school year, we will be on top of that. School is currently off limits to all practices and gatherings. I know that was a question from some community members. We really like to keep this campus clear of students playing basketball and gathering. If people want to utilize the social distancing and use our track just to walk, certainly we're not going to police that. And obviously this is a great place and a great parking lot to bring family members to ride bikes and walk. So certainly that's available to them, but we do ask that there's no gatherings or practices of students on a nice day here on campus, as we want to protect and make sure that we're abiding by the social distancing guidelines set forth by the governor. And we are continuing to clean and disinfect our buildings and grounds. And as the weather gets nicer, we'll see more and more maintenance staff here just keeping up with the campus as far as the grass goes and the trash with all of the wind that we've had over the last few weeks. So we'll keep this campus up and running and prepared to open. And again, I just want to thank the staff here. The teachers have been just unbelievable in what they're faced with, the challenges, not only personally, maybe with their own families and working from home, but reaching out to our students and our families. I know Lynn, Matt, and myself, we share the good news with the rest of the administrators and the teachers when we get them. And on approximately probably 2 or 3 times a day, I get good word from parents and students on how well our teachers are working through these unprecedented times. So I just can't thank the staff. It's been fantastic. And the administrators, again, are working hard to kind of keep the lights on here. And I want to thank Josh and Jordan and Mary for their continued hard work in making sure we're good to go in each day. So it's a great team here, and I'm proud of the employees and what our staff is doing here. And sometimes maybe the Board of Education doesn't hear it or doesn't see it, but I can tell you that in this area, I think we are doing what is absolutely right for the community, and we are on top of our game here. So I just want to thank everybody within the district for their hard work and continued hard work as long as this may go on. So
Thank you for saying that.
Thanks, John. At the last meeting, you talked about the buildings and ground staff and the need to be paying overtime on the few days that you are asking people to come to work. Is that still the case? Did you make some progress with the union on that?
Yes, I have a meeting with the CSEA on Thursday. We've contacted our school attorneys. I've been talking to the area superintendents in regards to that. It's a gray area because I had mentioned to you before, there's a stipulation in their contract about their payment when school is closed. Obviously, the indication is, a day or two, given, bad weather or a power outage. Nothing like we are, dealing with in this situation. So I'm working with the CSEA to get a little more concrete answers of what's expected, what we can expect moving forward, and even into the summer. I know that there are some school districts in the area that aren't really saying that they're closed, that we are still providing instruction and education is still going on, that just the kids and the teachers aren't physically here. So that is the new thing that we're looking into. But I have a meeting on Thursday with the CSEA. We have a new regional labor relations specialist for the CSEA, and I'll be meeting with them to see what their take on all of this is moving forward. And I'll get back to the board when I have an answer.
Are most districts in our area, their building grounds CSEA?
No. And if they are, their contracts all look a little different. There are some districts that have their buildings and grounds and, cleaners and other workers on a rotation that maybe they only work 1 out of the 5 days. There are some districts that don't have anybody working. And there are some districts that, are paying their people time and a half to come in. So it's kind of, a smorgasbord of what districts are doing. Currently, right now, we only have our essential employees working. And with the weather that it's been, we are on a very limited basis with our campus. Our buildings are fairly disinfected and cleaned. And I know that sparingly we have some people come in just to work a few hours to do some building checks and to, clean certain areas. But, as of right now, most of the employees are not working. And unfortunately, as this continues on, we are at a point that we're going to have to start calling in some people, given the weather and making sure that we're ready to go if we reopen. And that's the meeting for my meeting on Thursday.
Thank you.
You said something about the student check-in forms, John. What's your sense about student mental health through all this? How are students doing compared to when school's in session?
Sure. So, one of the questions we ask is about their eating, their sleeping. Is there anything you want to tell us? I'd have to say that some of the reports that I would say that it's about less than 2%. I know that some of our counselors have called. We do have a check-in button or, a checkbox that says, I need help, I need a check-in. And so that is red flagged. And I know that our counselors, again, daily check those forms and are reaching out. So I'd say out of all of those forms, we've reached out about 10 or 12 times on an emergency. But I really honestly think nothing has come across my desk of an urgent need other than I think a lot of students and even community members just need someone to talk to, just need that connection. And I think that's the most difficult thing that we're dealing with right now. It's not the instructional piece. It's not the educational piece. It's not the online platforms. It's that relationship, connection, that human factor that even, I know that, I struggle with coming in here every day and it being kind of dark and cold. And some of the teachers, feel the same way. We want to be here with our kids. And I know the teachers say that, the administration says that. And a lot of the student responses say that when we ask, is there anything else you want us to know? Yes, I want to be in school. So, to us, that's kind of a thumbs up that people miss this place. So as far as the mental health, I think we're in a good spot, and we are reaching out to those students, that require the connection or a phone call. So, do I think it might increase over the next month or two if we continue on with this? Absolutely. But we have a plan in place and we're on top of it.
Okay, thanks. I wonder, not to put the cart before the horse, I wonder about the summertime. If we don't come back in session and we got questions about September and we're still socially distancing in the summer, it's not something we've ever had to deal with before. But maybe we'll take that as it comes.
Right. And on our website, I know that the counselors, did put some hotlines that if the community members or students needed to call, but, a lot of, and I don't want to say a lot, but we have had some just community members and students reach out to us saying they need just a connection. And when we do, I think it's more of just kind of the anxiety or the worriness of, not completing assignments or what's going to happen. And we certainly, hopefully, calm their fears and provide them answers and supports that help them along. So.
Okay. Any other
Yeah,
questions?
I was on, must have been on Mr. Peterson's list the one day to call. So John, just to let you know, as a community member, he reached out, see how our family was doing, and that would, it beneficial. So, for those guys to keep that up and tell them, it absolutely helps just to get a call, like you said, the human piece of it. So.
Sure.
John, has there been any thought about summer school at all? I know that's another cart before the horse thing again, but that's something that I'm wondering if that's a plan that's being thought about or funds being allocated perhaps to bolster our summer school or.
Yes, we talked about that in the region. We do think that summer school is going to be on a very limited basis, given the fact now that Regents courses and the Regents exams, have been canceled. And so I know school districts are really looking at trying to provide all of the resources now because we don't know what summer school may look like.
Right.
Most students take summer school, obviously, to make up a course or retake it to review to pass a Regents exam. So I know that we here, in a way, we are doing our best to provide our students the most support that they can pass those courses. And I know that the teachers, the counselors, more so are reaching out to the students that might be on that bubble, given the fact now that hey, the state is going to provide you, some credit if you can pass this course. Let's get through this because even if they do summer school, all they have to do is pass the course. They still get credit for the Regents exam. So I know it's we're trying to make sure that we support our students now, so that they're not having to sign up for summer school. So.
Excuse me, John. I didn't pay attention. I guess I was focused on the June Regents. Have the August Regents been canceled as well?
Yes. Well, not the August Regents, but any course that a student is currently in that was going to end in a Regents exam, they get credit for. Now, and if you go to our website, there's also a pathway to receiving Regents credit, and I could probably pull it up for you. But there's also that if a student failed a course here and then went to summer school to receive remediation, they get credit for the course and the Regents exam. They do not have to take the Regents exam in August.
Okay.
John, how does the pass fail figure into grade point averages and that sort of thing?
Right. So I know Matt didn't put it as part of his letter. The teachers and administration came up with a rubric and then assigned percentages if we wanted to go that way. So it's twofold. Right now, we're looking at a pass fail for the fourth quarter. So what the teachers came up with is an assignment when it's turned in will be on a 5-point scale. It'll be rated a 0, 1, 2, 3, or a 4. And really a 0 would be that the student never turned it in. And that actually equates to a 60%. If a student turns in something and tries it, maybe hasn't had all of the information, there's many mistakes, that would be a 1, but that actually translates to a passing grade. And, a 4, if it's good, if it's complete, it's mostly correct, that would translate to 100. So what the teachers are doing is they're accepting assignments and rating on a rubric from a 0 to 4. And then what they will do is they will come up with, an end of the year tally of the number of assignments and what that overall rating is. Again, currently right now, we wanted it twofold because we didn't know if we wanted to go to just a pass fail or if we actually needed to put a percentage on. The concern is with our seniors. Some colleges are asking for a numeric grade at the end of their fourth quarter. And, it's more so for, our freshmen and sophomores that we could probably just do a pass fail. And then what would your overall average look like? So we're kind of flying that as we're building it, but we do have a rubric, and I'm sure if I can provide that to the board from Mr. Peterson in how we're evaluating our students for the fourth quarter.
So even if they get a 0 on it, that 60 isn't an actual 0. It still gives them
our rubrics that the teachers and administration came up with is very student friendly.
Yeah, I would say
sounds like it.
Yeah, I like
it at this point in time, but
I wish I had that rubric years ago.
Yes, I mean, you need to understand that these are. I mean, obviously, it's just education has drastically changed. And, we do understand that there are families and students whose focus has changed from the academics to, supporting their own families and childcare. And, there's many families within the district that don't have the internet access. So we are delivering, hard packets. We're collecting hard packets. I mean, it's all over the board. And we certainly don't want to, deny somebody, an education, and we certainly don't want to, punish somebody or have a concern about somebody and say, well, geez, you didn't, your focus has changed, and we didn't, so it's like I said, it's hard to answer that, and we'd rather err on the side of caution in the students at this point. And again, I know that, we have a list of kids that we haven't talked to in the last 2 or 3 weeks. We're making home visits. Teachers are reporting to the principals of students that they haven't reached, that haven't turned in any assignments. And I know the principals and the assistants and our counselors are making home visits to make sure that, number one, you're healthy and you're safe. But number two, hey, come on, give us something that we can assess you on. Get you through this.
John, I was thinking as you talked, is it possible if a student got to the parking lot of the school that they could access the internet Wi-Fi on their Chromebook?
Yes.
Do you know, and probably not the question for you since you don't live here, but can they do that from the parking lot of the library, the Haxton, or from?
No, I believe the Haxton Library is closed.
So they can't access the Wi-Fi from there?
I do
Lorna,
not.
I think they would be able to. I don't know if they have a password protected on there that's in the library, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like one
I
that you'd
think
have to
they
be in the
changed
library
that.
to see.
Because there was an incident a while back.
So they don't have access? Is that what you're saying, Chris?
I thought that they had a password that you had to be, inside the library. You could get it, but there was an issue outside the library a while back with someone on the internet.
Oh,
Got it.
Inappropriately, and I think they made some changes for that.
too bad.
But it's an option, Lorna. You're right. It is an
Well,
option at school.
Yeah, I was just brainstorming because I know
Yep.
in other places you could go and sit outside and catch Wi-Fi. And I know there's the problem of getting to the campus,
Right.
but I just wondered if they were close enough, could they access with their Chromebooks?
Yeah, and I don't know about that library one for sure, though, Chris. But you're right.
I'm not 100% sure on the library either, but I did see the
people sitting out there from time to time, but I don't know if they're just sitting out there or
yeah.
you know, or on a device. I don't know. I don't ask.
Yeah, they don't. They sit in the steps using the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
One day they did anyway.
Yep. Little me time.
Any other questions for John? All right, thanks, John. Move on to new business. Let's see, consent agenda. Be resolved items 7.2 through 7.4 be approved via consent agenda. Motion. Second.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Communications. I think you referred, John, to maybe we both received a positive email regarding the teacher. We've received some communications along those lines. Nothing else that I know of, though. Tara, is there anything we need to know?
No, there's not.
Okay, thank you. I don't think we've got anything for discussion and roundtable, and of course, no committee reports. So on to personnel. I'd like to do the retirement separately, so why don't we just do all three of these separately? For 10.2, be it resolved that Amanda Flugel be appointed long-term substitute teacher elementary for the period of April 20th through June 26th. Can we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? So John, so this is during the period that schools potentially closed, but there must have been some reason that we felt like we needed to appoint.
Yeah, and I apologize for giving this to you yesterday. We were waiting on some guidance. So this long-term substitute is for a maternity leave. Maternity leaves are obviously, obligated to our employees. And so we have a teacher going out on maternity leave. And so we need to appoint a long-term substitute because during the maternity leave, they are not expected, the regular teacher obviously is not expected to perform, their responsibilities. So maternity leaves kind of stay the same as if we were here. So we need to appoint a long-term substitute. There is new laws under the COVID-19 that really benefits employees in regards to sick leave, paid leave, maternity leave. So right now, as we're moving through this, we're going to act as this being a normal maternity leave, and we'll be going out through the end of the school year. So we need to have a long-term in place.
We'll still take on the responsibilities of the remote learning aspect, right?
Yes, that was part of the interview process.
Right.
I told Mrs. Gaylor to make sure that whoever's applying knows what type of situation we're in. Right.
You might feel lonely in that classroom.
Right. Exactly.
Where's everybody?
I can't get in the door.
Yes. So they will obviously be working very closely with the regular teacher to continue on until the end of the school year. Absolutely.
Okay, thanks for answering that. Any other questions for John on that? Any other discussion?
No,
All in favor? All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Passes. Under the retirement, acknowledge the retirement request of Bernadette Eason, food service worker, effective June 30th. We have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I'm sorry, I was reading something on the board.
Bernadette Eason.
Yeah, I just want to commend her for all her years of service, and it was cheerful and it was good. And it's happy news for anyone to retire, but it's sad that she'll be gone from OA.
Agreed.
Yep.
She wrote a really nice letter, and it was good that she shared her pleasure at being here for 24 years.
Yeah, that was a nice letter. Yep, thank you to her for all the years she gave us. All in favor of accepting the retirement? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. 10.4, acknowledge the retirement request of Kathleen Hopkins, teacher aide, effective June 30th. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second,
Any discussion?
I think I'm really thrilled for Kathy Hopkins in her retirement, but I have to say she has been an amazing teacher aide, versatile, dealing with difficulties. She's she's resilient. She's tough. She's one of those people a lot of kids could connect with. And she was someone as a teacher that you could always count on. So I'm really thrilled for Kathy that she can retire. She's worked multiple jobs and worked very hard. And sometimes she had a gruff exterior, but she always had a heart of gold and always really loved and cared about the kids. So I commend Kathy Hopkins for all her work at OA.
Yeah, and hopefully, what I saw with her letter, she wanted to come back as a volunteer basis next year. Hopefully, we can make that happen for her. If come the fall, she still wants to do that.
Yes, she's worked with difficult kids in difficult situations over the years, and it will be a big loss not to have her to rely on for OACS. But I'm happy for her.
For sure. Thanks for saying that, Laura. All in favor of accepting the retirement request? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Okay. Be resolved, the Board of Education under executive session at 11:03 a.m. for the purpose of discussing a particular person's employment as well as OATA negotiations. Have a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes. All right.
We take like a 5-minute